So hey there YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Saul here again today, and in today's video I'm going to be reacting to top 15 worst wrestling championships by Tap Out Corner. I have a link to the video in the description below. But yeah, I wanted to check out this video. I saw it yesterday. I saw the thumbnail yesterday. So yeah, when it comes to WWE championships, the worst one in recent memory is the Universal Championship. I never liked, yeah, I think it's the worst one in modern times. And the second worst one for me, during like the PG and Ruthless Aggression era was the Intercontinental Championship, the second design, the oval design. And I never liked that design. I don't know why. It just always looked like ass to me. It looked bland, and compared to the modern one and the classic one, it's like night and day, alright? I'm sorry, I never really liked the second design for the Intercontinental Championship. But yeah, in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to top 15 worst wrestling championships. So I'm curious to see if I agree with some of these lists, and I may see some that I've never seen before. So yeah, it's going to be one hell of a ride. But before we get into this video, you know the drill: like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, well, yeah. But first, wait, uh, can't watch the video without my hat.
There are so many beautiful and prestigious wrestling championships that look like works of art.
Yeah, I like the modern. Tag team championships. They look way better than the SmackDown and Raw championships. I never liked that design. I don't know why they made it like silver. Yeah, but these are way leagues. They're leagues better than the SmackDown and Raw championships, right?
And today, we aren't looking at a single one. This is works of
Right?
art. And today, we aren't looking at a single one.
Yeah.
This is the top 15 worst and ugliest championship belts of all time.
All right.
Number 15, the AWA World Light Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, so AWA, is American Wrestling Association from the territory days.
Okay, look at this thing. It looks
What the? Okay, that looks bland, man. I like the idea of it being with the American flag colors, but my God, this kind of looks, what the hell? It looks like a freaking, it looks like an actual toy, like a fan-made toy of this, the
like a
hell?
freaking popsicle. I do give the
Popsicle.
AWA points for trying something different with the red, white, and blue, but it did not work out. Also, I know that AWA stands for the American Wrestling Association, but the title is specifically the World Light Heavyweight Championship. Why would you make a world title look like a US flag? Or for
Yeah.
that matter, why does the American Wrestling Association have a world title?
Uh,
Number 14, the WWF Heavyweight Championship.
the WW, which WWF championship?
In the late 70s and early 80s, the WWF champion had to lug this thing around.
Wait, what?
In the late 70s and early 80s, the WWF champion had to
Oh
lug
yeah, I think seen this design. So like, it's the championship, but on the side plates, it has the names of the previous champions engraved into the side plates. From what I remember, like it's a cool concept on paper, but in execution, it kind of looks bland. Yeah, it looks bland. Like on paper, it sounds like a cool idea with all the names of the previous champions engraved on the side plates, but in execution, it doesn't look good.
this thing around. Now, as a concept, this is an awesome title.
Yeah.
The side plates show everyone who had won the championship
Oh.
and the dates of their title reigns. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
The execution, though,
Yeah.
is a different story. The belt is just too big, and the
Yeah.
stacked up side plates
Yeah. Also, how can you fit on all the champions? Think about if they kept this design all the way until the 2000s, like think how insane that would be trying to fit in all the champions that have claimed the title. Like that would just be insane, man. But
aren't a good look. Again, having the dates on there is cool too, but it's just hard to fit all that information
Yeah,
onto a belt. Plus, this design has a short shelf life because once you get past 8 champions, you can't fit anyone else.
yeah, you can't fit anyone else. Damn thing. Why did they think this was a good idea? Like this would only be a short term idea because like think about all the way from the 1970s to the 2000s. Like that's a lot of champions, man. And you're probably gonna take off. Yeah, probably have to make the side plates much smaller to fit all the names in.
On there. This is still a cool idea, and if you include just the names, I think this is a concept someone should bring back. I, however, cannot say the same thing about number 13, the Crown Jewel Championship. In
Crown Jewel
2024,
Championship.
WWE announced that the two respective men's
Okay, I didn't watch this. I know there was like uh a championship for there were specific championships for the I can't remember
women's
now.
world champions would face off at the annual Crown Jewel event.
So the
However,
world champs would face off and they would win the Crown Jewel Championship. Yeah, that kind of seems like a meaningless title because like they're not gonna defend the championship. They're just gonna win it like one time and that's it. It's never gonna be seen again.
their titles would not be on the line. Instead, the winner of each match would be gifted the Crown Jewel Championship. Okay, where do I begin? Well, for one,
That actually looks like a really cool championship. I don't see the problem with it. It looks cool, but I think the concept of it is kind of dumb because you're not gonna actually defend it. A cool design, but like, what are you gonna do with it? You're not gonna actually defend it on TV.
I'm not a fan of this taller shape that some belts have. It just looks odd to me,
All
and it
right.
leaves a lot of empty space on the plates. But by far, the worst part of the Crown Jewel Championship is just how generic it looks. It's devoid of personality.
Generic?
It
No, I
looks like
don't. No, I disagree. It doesn't look generic. It actually looks awesome, like with the diamonds. It looks really unique. I don't know where you're coming from, but I feel like it looks unique. The shape and the relief on the side plates.
it could be just about any championship for any company. Why not add in some purple, like the color of the Crown Jewel event? Especially since this is a title that is only going to appear once a year, why not give it some personality? I'll take the greatest Royal Rumble championship over
Nah, I prefer this championship. This one it just looks like any modern day championship. You know, uh, the when was this design introduced again? Yeah, it was introduced the 2013 WWE Championship design with side plates. Like that's a generic design in all of WWE now. Like this is more unique. I don't know where you're coming from with this.
the Crown Jewel Championship any day. Number 12, the AEW Women's World Championship.
Uh,
Specifically, I'm talking about the very
oh yeah. Hmm. It doesn't look bad. It just looks kind of small.
first design that was introduced in 2019. Like with the Crown Jewel Championship, I don't like the oval shape of the center
Yeah, it looks too small, man. Like yeah, and oval shape. I think the oval shape is okay. It just looks little too small, man, for my liking.
plate. But my real problem with this belt is that
Huh.
it's just too small. It
Yeah,
looked like the
it's too
size of
small.
a toy replica and not the actual
Yeah,
championship.
it's actually
Someone at
toy
AEW
replica.
must have thought the same, because in 2021, the belt was updated to be slightly
Okay, that's stupid. Both of them are so small. I've seen the modern women's championship, and its leagues better than these two, man.
bigger, which made all the difference.
Nah,
That's an
it
example
doesn't
of
make
a
a
good
difference.
championship redesign. To see the opposite of that, we head over to WWE with number 11, the WWE United States Championship. Now,
Okay, I know it is controversial, but I like the modern, I like the new United States Championship design. Like I love the old one. The classic one is great. I like it, but I don't get the hate for the new one. I think the new one looks really good with the ego, and maybe if they just like, mm, I don't know, if they made the blue, if they made the American flag much more big on it, I don't know, it could have made it look a little better. But I don't see the problem with it. I never got the problem with it. I think it looks really good. The new one.
I'm not talking about the design used from 2003 to 2020. That belt looked great. I'm talking about the crappy redesign. It's
Like I
not
don't think it's crappy. Like maybe if the I don't know. Like I like the stars and all, but maybe if they had the ego, but the background of the design had the American flag on it, I think that would have been maybe better.
Awful, but it just sucks the life out of the original title. The current United States Championship looks like a basic black strap and gold plated championship belt. Give me a little more red, white, and blue. It's the United
Yeah,
States
just
title
like
after.
make the background red, white, and blue, and I think that would have been better. I like the design. I still don't see the problem with it. But yeah, I can see that could be a good compromise, but also keep the ego.
All. Make it scream America. Actually, while we're at it, I'm gonna throw the WCW United States title in there too, for the same reason. It looks like just a
It looks like a good design. Yeah, I can see the American flag with the ego, but yeah, also again a compromise. Put the American flag in the background. That would make it
generic
look
wrestling
better.
title. I honestly prefer the Women's United States Championship. It's basically the same, but the white strap looks better, and at least one-third of
Yeah,
the
I actually prefer the when it comes to the Women's Intercontinental Championship and the US Championship. I prefer the women's one because of the white strap. I think it looks better. Those two championships look better with the white strap.
flag is prominently featured. Number 10, the ECW World Tag Team Championship and the ECW World Television Championship. Yes, I'm doing 2 for 1, but that's only because both these titles have the exact same problem. Now, the original ECW Tag Team titles weren't great, but they weren't awful either. However, in 1997, the company
Oh yeah,
redesigned
yeah. I think like I remember ECW ripped off WWF designs by this time. They ripped off their designs. They made the tag team championships the exact copy of the Intercontinental Championship, the classic one.
belts, or more accurately, stole WWE's Intercontinental
Yeah,
Championship design and slapped an ECW
yeah,
logo on
yeah.
it. That's literally what it was. And what makes it even sadder is that they did it again.
With the freaking television championship, they literally just took the classic ring championship and turned it into a second rate championship. What the hell?
ECW also redesigned the World Television Championship, and it was just a ripoff of the Winged Eagle WWE Championship. I
Yeah.
can understand using the Intercontinental Belt for the tag team titles, but why use the Winged Eagle for the World Television
Yeah, that's a second rate championship, man.
Championship? Did the original ECW even air in the United Kingdom? What makes the ripoff titles even worse is that this was ECW, the rebellious anti-establishment organization. Still, here they are, shamelessly copying popular designs from the big guys.
Huh?
Fortunately, someone realized these belts were bad and much
Yeah, yeah, much better. The class. The I would call these ones like the actual classic designs.
better tag team and television belts were
Yeah,
made. Number 9, the Impact Global Championship. In
Impact.
2017, TNA merged with Jeff Jarrett's wrestling company, Global Force Wrestling, or GFW. This would see the organization, formerly known as TNA, now be called GFW Impact Wrestling. New championship belts were made, the ropes
Oh, Jim Cornette. Yeah, I watch a lot of Jim Cornette. It's pretty funny when he's angry. Okay, let me just hear this again.
Global Force Wrestling, or GFW. This would see the organization, formerly
Mm,
known as TNA, now be called GFW Impact Wrestling. New
GFW.
championship belts were made, the ropes were changed to green, and
Huh?
more. However, the two sides had a falling out, and this resulted in GFW leaving and TNA revert back to being called just Impact Wrestling. I guess TNA got rid of their original World Championship because even though they were no longer affiliated with GFW, they kept using the GFW World title. All they did was slap an Impact Wrestling
What? You couldn't come up with new designs?
sticker over it. But that wasn't the most embarrassing part.
Oh,
TNA
I mean,
ran out
like,
of stickers and couldn't cover up the GFW logos on the side plates.
okay,
In a
that's
way,
stupid.
though, this makes this championship the most TNA of all the TNA titles. Number 8, the Rated R WWE Championship.
Okay,
Now, I know that the spinner belt is widely considered a bad championship.
look, the spinner bout. So when it comes to the spinner bout, I think a good compromise would have been like this. They should have just kept it as a Cena championship. While Cena had the championship and was the reigning champion, it should have just been his design. Like the US championship he got, it should have just been his design. But the problem is that they kept the design throughout the years, and multiple wrestlers had the championship, the Spinner Championship, and it wasn't a Cena exclusive thing. Like, like how The Rock and Stone Cold had their own championship, and it was exclusive to them. It wasn't exclusive to Cena, and that's kind of the problem. I don't think it's a bad design. I think it's a good design. I like that it was used throughout the years. I think it's a really cool design. But I understand the other side that it just looks like a toy. It doesn't look like an actual championship. I don't know. Like it looks like an. I know. I really love this championship, but I think a good compromise would have been just keep it as a Cena thing. Just while Cena is holding while Cena is holding the title, he has a spinner belt, and then when he's not holding the title, it reverts back to the original design, the undisputed championship design. I think that would have been I think that would have been a better compromise than just all these other wrestlers holding the spinner belt. I, I, I don't hate spinner belts, but I think that's a better compromise than just having it throughout all these years. Uh, because like when you think about symbolically, with all those wrestlers holding the championship, it just symbolically represents that Cena is just the top guy. He's always going to win the championship, no matter what. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah. However, can we at least give a little bit of hate to what Edge did to it? After defeating
Well, I
Travis
think
Tritt,
what Edge did to it, he's like mocking it. He's mocking it. That's the point of the belt. He's mocking the Spinner Championship, for me at least.
and winning his second WWE Championship, the Radar
Oh
Superstar
yeah,
threw
they
Cena's
threw it
belt
up.
into the water and then presented his own. It was the exact same
Yeah,
belt.
with the R-weighted logo. I think that was a good. I liked I like what Edge he drew his own design and it looked like a good design, but it was essentially like the Intercontinental Championship design, the classic design. And I don't think WWE had the rights to the Intercontinental Championship design by that point in time. So yeah, I think this was a good idea.
But now with Edge's logo in the center, it just looked so out of place on that belt. It
Yeah,
didn't
that's the whole point. It was supposed to mock the spinner belt, essentially.
match the design at all. What makes it even sadder is that Edge had drawn up a custom
Yeah.
belt that actually
This one looks really cool. But oh yeah, and I like this idea with War and the WWE World Championship. Yeah, I like this idea for the design, but again, I don't think WWE owned the rights to the original WWE to the original Intercontinental Championship design. They didn't own the rights to it, so yeah, I don't think Edge could have used it. And either way, the spinner belt was selling out, and again, they couldn't just like get rid of the spinner belt. It was increasing the toy sales.
looked pretty sweet. I'm guessing that since replicas of the spinner belt sold so well,
Yeah,
WWE didn't want to stray too far from that design.
yeah.
However, that gave us about a month of this ugly looking thing.
Not,
Number 7.
I don't think it's ugly. I think it's a fine design. I don't see the problem with it.
UWF Sports Channel Television Championship. The
UWF.
Universal Wrestling Federation, or UWF, was a company that ran from 1990 to 1996. What it tends to be remembered for nowadays is its insane owner, Herb Abrams. I'm not going to go into all that, but looking at the company's TV title, you'll get an idea of how petty
UWF. I don't know. This one looks freaking ass, man. Alright, I don't know. Like silver. Yeah, it just looks ass. No, what nothing about this team makes me like it.
Mr. Abrams was. Sports Channel was the network that aired UWF episodes. So, like what AEW would do decades later, the company made a title named after the network. I always
Alright.
appreciate a non-black strap belt, but the silver plates on the white don't work.
Yeah, they
And
don't.
also
They
just
don't mix well. White and gold mix well, but not silver and white.
too many colors, with the UWF logo being green, yellow, and blue, and the Sports Channel logo adding red. Also, just like with ECW, why are there eagles on a television championship? Additionally, while the UWF letters on the sides are a neat idea, I don't think they work with the TV
Yeah,
title.
they don't.
They
They don't
seem like
work.
they would have been better for the company's World Heavyweight Championship. But the real reason the initials are here is for one petty jab.
What?
You see, Herb Abrams wanted to work with Vince McMahon and the WWE. When that didn't happen, Abrams launched the UWF to compete against them.
What
Then,
the-
to really stick it to him, Herb designed the television title so that when he held it, the belt said F you, which is entirely directed at Vince McMahon.
Right.
To his credit, Herb Abrams was the Attitude Era before the Attitude Era. Number 6, the CMLL Arena Coliseo Tag Team Championship. CMLL is the largest wrestling company in Mexico and is actually the oldest wrestling company still in existence, with its origins dating back to 1933. Despite having close to 100 years of experience, they're still struggling to design good championship belts. Case in point, the Arena Coliseo.
What kind of championships are those? What the freaking hell are these, man? I think I may remember this. Are these like faces? I can't remember now.
Tag team titles. Kind of like the previously mentioned WWF World Heavyweight title, the Arena Coliseo titles try to incorporate history by having the faces of luchadors emblazoned.
Like, also, how are you gonna fit on all those faces, man? That's not like a good long-term plan. That's not a good long-term plan. How are you gonna fit on all the champions' faces onto a small, tiny championship? Like, that's so weird, man.
On the belt. It's a cool idea, but since you're not usually seeing the belts from that close up, it ends up giving the titles this odd cheese-like texture.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't help either that the color is yellow and has a rectangular shape.
Yeah.
Number 5, the 24/7 Championship.
Flip this championship. Yeah, R-Truth was the only best part of this whole title. This title is freaking complete ass. I'm glad they got rid of it.
24/7 title as a concept, but even I'll admit, this was an ugly looking.
They should have just brought back the hardcore title. That would have been better. The hardcore title looks like crap, but it has more charm to it. It has more charm than this title, man, alright?
It just has such a plain and basic design.
Yeah.
I get it's not meant to be a prestigious championship, but couldn't they have given it a bit more detail?
Yeah, but like
crying out loud.
bit more spirit, a bit more like life into it.
Side plates are just empty squares.
Yeah.
You couldn't slap a 24/7 logo on there or something? No wonder Nikki Cross failed to throw the title away. Even the trash can didn't want it. Number 4, the Fabulous Moolah Women's Championship.
Flip.
Time has revealed all the awful stuff Fabulous Moolah has done. I'm not going to go into all of it, partially because some of it's pretty disgusting, but something that did come to light years later was Moolah's stranglehold on women's wrestling in the United States. Moolah used her influence to basically control women's wrestling throughout the mid-1900s. This resulted in her being WWE Women's Champion for almost 30 years. That's not a typo either. From 1950 Women's Champion for women's wrestling throughout the mid-1900s. This resulted in her being WWE Women's Champion for almost 30 years. That's not a typo either.
30 years. So she had enough political power to be champion for 30 years. Okay.
From 1956 to 1984, WWE recognizes the Fabulous Moolah as their women's champion. And nothing visualizes this better than what Moolah did to the WWE Women's title. During her nearly 3-decade-long title reign, this is the belt Moolah used.
Okay, yeah, peak narcissism. Okay. Peak narcissism here, man.
It doesn't even say women's champion or anything. It's literally just a picture of Moolah with a crown above her. Imagine if Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes slapped a picture of themselves on their titles. I know people say the Divas Championship is one of the worst women's championships.
Yeah, like, I know, kind of bland to okay, but like, I represented a bad area. This championship represented a bad era of women's wrestling.
Championship belt designs, but Fabulous Moolah's title makes it look like a work of art. However, as hard to believe as it might be, there is one women's championship that looks even worse than this. I'll share that later. For now, let's look at number 3, the WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship.
Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship.
WCW had so many Cruiserweight wrestlers,
they
decided to expand the division and introduce tag team titles. Now, the idea behind the championship isn't bad, with the belt looking sort of like an eagle. But
what the freaking hell? Is that the actual design? Or is that like a fan made? Because if that's the actual design, what the freaking hell is this, man?
But man, the execution was awful.
What the freaking hell?
With the belt looking sort of
what the freaking hell is this, man? Like, what kind of belt? This feels like this belt was made by a freaking 8-year-old. What the hell, man?
An eagle. But man, the execution was awful. There's too much empty space on the black strap, and it kind of looks like an arts and crafts project. It also just seems a little too bland.
Okay, it doesn't look as crappy as that one I saw. I think that was just a fan made one, but like, I can't get
Man,
close to.
especially with the cruiserweight division being focused on high risk moves and excitement. The belts, honestly,
Yeah, they still look ass. A little better than that fan made one, but yeah, these all look ass. I don't get why they would use the ego design. I don't get it. I don't get why they would use the ego design for it.
look unfinished. I wouldn't be surprised if they were. Just 8 days after the first Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions were crowned, WCW would go out of business. It's not
Oh,
surprising then that when WWE
they would go out of business just few weeks later. Look.
bought WCW and did the Invasion storyline, they did not bring over these titles. Number
Uh,
2, the WWF World Heavyweight
uh,
Championship. I know that back in the 60s, wrestling championships
oh,
and wrestling in general was different than what it is today.
yeah.
However, the original WWF World title is so bad. Here's what the WWE Championship looks like today,
Yeah.
and here's what the original looked
Well,
like.
yeah, look, get time period. They weren't obsessed with making the championship look, incredibly prestigious. Not like so. They didn't like put in much detail because that wasn't their main focus. I think I'm not sure, but yeah, this looks by today's standards, this looks complete freaking ass, man. Alright,
This honestly looks like an actual belt you would use to hold up your pants.
yeah,
But there's so much more wrong with this title. The side plates look like two people kissing, and despite it being the World Championship for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the center plate is shaped like the US. Are wrestling companies just really bad at geography?
yeah.
Okay, we've made it to number 1. Brace yourselves, because the number 1 worst wrestling championship is the WWE Spinner Belt. Nah, I'm kidding. The actual worst wrestling championship belt is number 1, the Pure J Openweight Championship.
Pure J
Okay, so
Openweight
people always
Championship.
say the Divas Championship is awful. It's the ugliest belt of
Oh,
all.
look, I don't think it's ugly. I think it's a creative design. I don't know. Like, it's kind of bland, but I think it's kind of creative. I don't like the butterfly design. I don't know. I just never like it's expressive and all that. But also the problem with this bout, it was used during some of the worst eras of women's wrestling, man. The worst era of women's wrestling.
Time. I'm not saying they're wrong, but I am saying they have clearly never seen the Pure J Openweight Championship.
Right, what's
Pure
about?
J is a Japanese women's wrestling company. They have several titles and they all look fine, except for the Openweight Championship. Here it is. It looks like something a car dealership would give to their sales team.
What the freaking out yellow and what the freaking hell, man? That just looks so freaking like the mustard championship now. What the?
The text on the front is in the
Like, it looks like mustard, man. Like, this looks so freaking. Why yellow, man, of all things?
this basic font, and the belt has this see-through plastic strap that
Yeah,
just
it
makes
looks
it feel
plastic.
cheap.
That's not metal. Like, it looks plastic. It looks fake, man. It looks fake.
What's worse, seeing something bad or hearing something bad? If you want to hear the worst wrestling theme songs, watch this video.
Yeah, maybe next time. But yeah, that's my reaction for today. And before I sign off, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.